Good morning, Year 7s. Right, so we finished off all of our amazing construction unit. I know I say it every time, but I love that unit. It was so nice to see your guys' really creative work, all those amazing pictures that you've drawn. I just think the most amazing thing of all is just how pretty and how perfect and how exact they can be using only just your hands and like a couple of mathematical tools. So yeah, constructions are really good. And for those of you who enjoyed the creative element of it, you'll be happy to hear our next topic, which is scale diagrams, is super duper creative as well. Yeah, so let's crack on. Let's get started with our brand new unit. Okay, so first things first, buddies. Scale diagrams and things like map scale and stuff is used all over the shop, okay? So basically, I see scale used the most in maps because I love D of E, which you guys will get a chance to do when you get to year 9. It's like walking around and doing some navigation and going on a big expedition with all of your friends and camping out and cooking your own food. All of that awesome stuff is part of the D of E program, and that's kind of where I use my map scale stuff all the time. So this here is a picture of what's called an Ordinate Survey Map. Now, it's a really, really accurate representation of wherever you are in the UK, but I've just zoomed in on a little piece of Ulster here. Now, here you go. This is a perfect, easy to navigate picture of Ulster. So if you needed to know how to get somewhere, you could follow this map, no problem at all. But if you want to be really accurate and you want to know exactly how long it might take and exactly where you are, you're going to have to know something about its scale. Now, on this map, on this kind of OS map, you get these scales that look like this. And this is a big shout out to geography as well. So I'm doing geography a big favor here. I'm talking about scale with you guys as well. But yeah, you've probably heard of map scale, and the scale on this map is 1 to 25,000. Now here's what that means. So it's in like ratio format. Here's what that means. It means that if you were to take your ruler and measure 1 centimeter on the map, that would match up to 25,000 centimeters in real life. Because obviously the map is smaller than real life, so that we can carry around a map of Ulster without having to carry around a map that is the size of Ulster. So yeah, that's the way it works. If you were measuring in millimeters, it would mean that 1 millimeter is 25,000 millimeters. So it's completely independent from the unit. So I'm going to show you just really quick, and you'll do this a lot more in detail in your geography lessons and also when you get to year 8. So I'm just going to do a quick way through because I know you guys are really clever and you'll be interested in how this stuff works. So I thought I'd explain it even though you kind of don't really need to know it to this level in year 7. But here we go. Like I said, it means that 1 centimeter in real life equals 25,000 centimeters. 1 centimeter on the map is 25,000 centimeters in real life. Now, that's a bit weird because, yeah, you wouldn't measure distances in real life in centimeters because every time you take a step, it's loads of centimeters. So here's what we can do. Let's keep this 1 centimeter bit the same. And on this side here, what we're going to do is instead of having 25,000 centimeters, I think we should turn the centimeters into meters. So, who thinks they know it? To turn centimeters into meters, what do we have to divide by? If you said 100, because there's 100 centimeters in the meter, you're absolutely right. So if we divide it now by 100, so that means move the decimal twice, it's going to end up there. Which means, actually, 1 centimeter is 250 meters, which does kind of make sense, okay? That's kind of a useful measure now, because say you were trying to measure, I don't know, somewhere over here on the school playing field, say that you were trying to measure how far the track was, that might be quite good. You could figure out, maybe using a piece of string, how big our track was or how long the sports field is. That's quite cool. Usually when you go for a walk though, you're not usually measuring in meters. We usually like to use kilometers. So, who remembers? How many meters to the kilometer? If you said 1,000 You're absolutely right. There's 1,000 meters in a kilometer. So this is what we do. We're going to divide by 1,000. That means the decimal goes 3 times. 1, 2, 3, 2 in front of the 2. And that means actually that 1 centimeter is equal to 0.25 kilometers. Which means if you were to measure across, or if you were to measure a distance, say along this road, past the school here, or up and down, up onto the high street, you could measure the road in centimeters, and all you'd have to do is times it by 0.25, and that would give you the distance in kilometers. So basically, it won't quite work because I've used the computer. I know I keep using that as an excuse, but it won't quite work because I'm on the computer here. But from this, like these tall blue lines that break everything into a grid, they should be 4 centimeters apart, and they would be if you could measure a real OS map. They'd be exactly 4 centimeters apart because they're exactly 1 kilometer apart. And boom, scale diagrams. It's used on maps all the time. It's used for scale models. So if you if you have someone in your family who, or even you, likes to make things like model cars or model aeroplanes, if you're quite heavily into that kind of thing, you can use your scale pictures. They usually scale perfectly, so they match the car that they're supposed to be, or they match the plane that they're supposed to be. And that's kind of the idea of the activity that I'm going to get us to do today. So here we go. Today, we are going to be making a mini you. Oh yeah. So, here's the thing. I'm going to get you guys to draw me, and see, I love it. It's going to be I'm so excited for you to give these to me. I'm like buzzing to see what they're going to look like. But I want you to draw a picture of yourself. Don't worry if you're not a super good artist. I'm certainly not, as you'll be able to see just there. You're going to make a nice picture of yourself and color it in, make it look nice, all of that. It won't take ages, but it's going to be a scale of 1 to 15, which means that 1 centimeter of the picture that you're going to draw is 15 centimeters of you in real life. Cool, cool, cool. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to print this sheet out, or you're going to use your book if you still don't have a printer. You can write it in your book. It's okay too. And here's what we're going to do. Okay. Oops. Get this. My lovely picture of Futurama in the center here. Beautiful. Okay. So here's what you need to measure. First column is you're actually going to measure lengths on your own body. If you've got maybe your mum or your dad wants to help, you could do it yourself, no problem. But if you wanted, usually in class, I usually get you guys to help each other. But if you have maybe brothers or sisters, or mum and dad wants to help, or you can do it yourself, it's all good. It's easiest if you have a tape measure. But if you don't have a tape measure, just use your ruler and just put your finger where the ruler ends and move along. Okay, so here's what you got to measure. First things first is your forearm. I want that to include your hand as well. So if you look at my mouse here, here's a picture of Fry from Futurama. I mean, go from your elbow, so it should be like, ooh, I'm going to even draw on it, I am. So, which would mean to go from your elbow, which is like there, and measure all the way down to your pinky finger, okay? So that's what I mean by, ooh, can I draw on this? Oh, no, not again. That's what I mean on how you can, how do I draw on it again? Oh, why does that always happen? I can never draw on Word. Oh, drat. Okay, well, you'll just have to listen. Unfortunately, I can't draw on that one. But yeah, it's from your elbow all the way down to your finger. So that would be the one that I'm meaning by forearm. The second one, so that's the first one, the green one. The second thing I'm going to get you guys to measure is going to be your upper arm. So from that, I mean, you should go from where you stopped there all the way up to your shoulder. Just like that, okay? So that's the second distance that I want you to do, okay? So that one is the upper arm, okay? And that one is your forearm. Cool. Next thing I'm going to get you to do is shoulders. That's all the way across. So if you stand up tall and you don't let your shoulders be slouchy like kind of Fry's shoulders are in this picture, it's all the way from the edge of your one arm right across your back, right to the edge of your other arm, okay? That's going to be your shoulder, okay? So that's what I want you to measure too, so get that in centimeters also. Your head and your neck together, so right to the top. Maybe if you've got big puffy hair like that, you could include it. Just make sure that you could include your puffy hair as well, and you could, include that as well, because then you can draw your hair as it is in real life onto your picture too. So that's like this, okay? That's your head and neck together. Okay? Head plus neck. Measure that too. Next thing is your torso. Now, here's what I mean by your torso. When you're doing your torso, it's your top half. And so just, I would say, if you're getting your parents or somebody different to measure you, I would get them to measure you on your side and go all of the way from your shoulders all the way down to where your belt would be. And maybe you can guess why I said have them do it on your side now because of that. But yeah, if that way you don't have to be too worried about measuring down your front. So if you measure down your side from there all the way to where your belt would be, that's what I mean by your torso. And the last thing that I want you to measure is just how long your legs are. So that's where your torso stops. So where your belt would be if you were wearing a belt, all the way down, including your feet, all the way to the floor, and that's your legs. Okay, obviously. Oh, I feel like I've given a really poor lesson on biology right there, so hooray. But that's what you're going to measure. Measure it all to the nearest centimeters. So if it was like 33.6, just call it 34, okay? So just measure it all to the nearest centimeter. Now your scaled measurement then, if the scale's 1 to 15, it means that 15 centimeters on you will mean 1 centimeters in our picture, which means you divide each number by 15. So for instance, oh shoot, I forgot I can't draw on that. So for instance, I can though. Oh, look at me being clever. Here we go. I can draw on it. Check this out. Oh yeah, you can't stop me, stupid Microsoft Word. Insert, new slide, blank slide, shaboom, look at that, ha ha ha. Okay, so basically then, if you, I don't know, say that your forearm was, let's go with 30 centimeters to make it easy. That means all you got to do to get this is, because since it's 1 to 15, you divide by 15, and that means on your picture, 30 divided by 15 is 2. It means that you draw your forearm as 2 centimeters long in your picture. Get it? Good. Because once that's done, guys, once that's all done, what you're going to find is you've got all these measurements here, and they're all in the exact proportion as your actual body is. So you start off by drawing yourself in whatever pose you like. So I drew me as, like, I don't know, waving or holding something or something. I don't know why I drew myself like that, but that's how I've done it. And you start including all of the lines on, okay? So measure all of these really accurately. They should be jaggy and horrible, just like mine is jaggy and horrible. And whatever you do, don't erase them, okay? So so you're going to keep them, and don't erase them after you finish drawing them, okay? So keep them just like that, and you'll have a little skeleton. After you finish with that, what you're going to do is you're just going to put some flesh on the bones. So draw yourself however you like. So if you want to draw yourself in your kind of usual outfits that you like to wear, or if you want to draw yourself even as a superhero or something, that's cool too. Just as long as it's accurate and stuff like that, okay? So you can see I took that same skeleton and I put a picture of myself on it with apparently curly hair. So there you go. Yeah, Mr. Wade's an amazing artist. And that's what you're going to do. All done, just write your name underneath it, just like that, because I usually put them up in my classroom because I think they're awesome. But I don't know, if I get a couple of good ones, we might find, I don't know, I'll have a think and see if I can find a way of displaying them somehow. But yeah, it's really cool. And that's all I want you to do, lovelies. So make it nice, make it colored in. Really importantly though, please, don't erase the skeleton underneath, okay? You can color over it, but when I go to mark it, I'd like to see the lines that you measured, okay? So while they look like they're in the way, they're useful for me because it shows me that you understood the maths too. So you've not just made a pretty picture, but you also understood the maths. Cool. Yeah, I'm quite excited, and I guess that's it from me this week. Your pentagons and your stars looked utterly fantastic. I loved them, and I'm looking forward to marking this too, and I hope that you're enjoying the creative maths units. So yeah, I guess that's it for me. See you next time, my buddies. Bye, lovelies!